The commencement ceremony for the Department of English of the School of Arts and Sciences will now be in order. This is certainly the strangest commencement ceremony I've ever been to. Last year there was none. 2 years ago we were in a big tent. All of you would have gotten flowers as you walked across the stage. Now I'm thinking there's a 19th century poem by a French poet, Théophile Gautier, called The Spectre of the Rose. So you can just imagine we're giving you a spectre of a rose with its invisible odor and so on. There are 4 of us here representing the department, and you are representing a number of other seniors who are virtual or just not here. So I'm John Feiler, I'm the chair, and also here is Sonia Hofkosh, Jess Kaiser, and Kimberly Bain. And we'll all have roles of one sort or another in the next few minutes. But I think this is a moment of great happiness for you, and we congratulate you heartily at the end of a year of great sadness and complexity. I think Tufts is to be congratulated for handling the COVID pandemic as effectively and efficiently as it has. I've gotten quite good at taking my weekly nasal swab. I'm very, very quick. But it's also a year that's emphasized our desire for connection and community and the difficulty of accomplishing that at this kind of distancing. I started my Chaucer class. There's one person here who's in it virtually. And I'll confess I like certain things about Zoom. Everybody's face is equally prominent. People's names are under their faces, but I don't need that. And when we moved to being in person, it was in some ways great, but I feel like I have to yell through my mask to be heard. And so I sort of have I have the sense of what people look like as a whole, but no longer what their faces look like because they're covered. So you're getting sort of half the person one way, half the other. But anyway, here we are. And I first wanted to celebrate the winners of the department prizes, and then Jess Kaiser will have a few things to say, and then we'll get into the ceremony itself. So there are 3 prizes to announce. If the winners are here, please stand when I say your name. The Mary Grant Charles Prize for Creative Writing was awarded this year to Ann Savage. The Morton and Cohen Prize, also for creative writing, was awarded to Claire Fraze and Kaylee Ford. And the Department of English Prize was again awarded to 2 people, Stephanie Hoekst and Brittany Regas. So I'll call on Jess Kaiser now to.
Thanks, John. Can everybody hear me okay? Excellent. Let me begin by saying thank you and congratulations to the class of 2021. It's my job today to provide a few brief welcome remarks before we sort of officially begin and reward you your degrees. It seems to me that no commencement ceremony, especially one for English majors, would be complete without a few brief words about poetry and about conclusions. Or rather about conclusions that are really secretly beginnings, which of course is what this ceremony, which we call commencement rather confusingly, is all about. And arguably, the greatest conclusion to the greatest poem in the English language are the 5 lines that wrap up John Milton's epic poem, Paradise Lost. I'm going to read those lines to you in a moment, but before doing so, I need to sound a warning, and it's this. Before I read these lines, you're gonna have to listen to me ramble a bit first. The problem is that these lines are so good, so sublime, so perfect for this moment and this particular event, even in its weirdness, that they're going to upstage me. Once you hear them, in other words, it won't matter what else I have to say about them. If I were to read them now, all you would hear is sort of Milton's verse, and then from me, blah, blah, blah. So it is perhaps the case that you are already hearing from me something like blah, blah, blah. So I would just say suffer through that for just a few more minutes, and then I'll make a signal of some sort where you can start paying attention again to hear the lines. Now, many of you already know the story Milton tells in his poem. It's in the title, after all. The title itself is a spoiler, Paradise Lost. It's an account of the fall. It's the story of Adam and Eve being expelled from the Garden of Eden. But for those in the back, the story is basically this. God creates Adam and Eve. He plucks them down in a garden paradise where they while away their days eating fruit, making flower garlands, palling around with elephants, and generally doing whatever they want. Whatever they want, with one important exception, of course. They're not allowed to eat the fruit from one particular tree, the tree of knowledge, or, to be even more specific, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, even if you've somehow never encountered some version of this story before, as soon as I say tree of forbidden knowledge, or as soon as this forbidden tree enters the picture, you know the rest. I mean, you know the rest just based upon the glaring fact that the human race no longer seems to inhabit a garden paradise, as the masks on all of our faces can tell you. In Milton's version, at least, Satan, escaped from hell and out for revenge, convinces Eve to eat from the forbidden tree. She does so, and then she convinces Adam to do the same. As a result, Adam and Eve are cast out of the Garden of Eden, which is how Paradise Lost, and the lines I'm about to read you, conclude. Now, Milton's poem is many things, but for me at least, it is above all one of the great poems about education. Two characters move from innocence to experience, with all the pain and triumph involved in such things. And in that respect, it's easy enough to read Paradise Lost as a kind of allegory for your college experience. Now, does that mean Tufts is a kind of Eden? Obviously, yes. But if that's the case, does that mean that this ceremony right here constitutes your expulsion from the Garden of Paradise? And when I ask that question, at this point, some of you might be asking yourself, just wait, what kind of depressing ceremony is this? Leave it to an English professor to read a poem called Paradise Lost at graduation. But let me just say this. If you're thinking that this is a depressing story, you've got it wrong. Or at least you've only got it half right. So yes, to be clear, the loss of Eden is absolutely, without a doubt, positively the worst thing that ever, let me stress, ever happened to the human race. It's the huge, primary, originary, collective historical trauma against which all others are pale shadows. However, and Milton's poetic genius hangs on that however, for Milton, the fall from paradise, the loss of a place that has come to seem like home, was not only inevitable, but also strangely fortunate, even happy. Inevitable because no one can resist forbidden knowledge. As a French theorist, Jean Baudrillard notes, if you happened upon a door labeled, "This door opens onto the void," wouldn't you open it? And the answer, of course, is yes. You would absolutely open it, even knowing that there's nothing behind that door but the void. Just to see, you would crack it open. Everyone opens the door. Everyone grabs the forbidden fruit. But this compulsion is also fortunate, because in that act of necessary, inevitable rebellion, you also gain a measure of autonomy you arguably lacked before. Education forces you into freedom. I won't pretend to know exactly what you're thinking or feeling right now, especially at an event like this, but I have to imagine that at least for some of you, some of the time, you're experiencing at this graduation ceremony, at this moment of commencement, an odd mix of feelings for which you have no precise language. You're experiencing, that is, some completely incongruous mixture of sadness for the things you've loved and will now leave behind, at least for a time, at Tufts, but also happiness for the freedom to seek and find new things to know and desire out there in the wider world. You're feeling, that is, some combination of dread and anxiety, but also leavening those emotions, a strange sort of excitement, even anticipation. We don't have a word for this feeling in the English language, at least as I'm aware of. Perhaps the Germans, with their genius for big, long train words, might, but that's a different major and so a different graduation ceremony. Instead, to capture something like what you might be feeling, let me offer you, the class of 2021, these lines from Milton's Paradise Lost. Here is Adam and Eve leaving paradise. Some natural tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them. Where to choose their place of rest and providence their guide. They, hand in hand with wandering steps and slow, through Eden took their solitary way. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Jess. That was great. If Sonia had been delivering this talk, she could have quoted the prelude where Wordsworth starts his summer vacation by saying the world was all before me. Yeah. That's also perhaps appropriate. So we shall now begin the presentation by department of candidates for their respective degrees. Candidates shall come to the stage to receive congratulations on behalf of the English department faculty. First of all, the graduate program.
Greetings. I'm moved to see you here. I'm moved every year, and I'm especially moved that you've come out and are sitting here in your masks. And we do want you to know how heartfelt our congratulations are and how proud we are of all of you for making it through this year in particular, as well as making it through your whole undergraduate time at Tufts. Before we recognize the recipients of graduate degrees, which I'm happy to be announcing as the director of the graduate program in the department, I want to acknowledge that Tufts is located on unceded Wampanoag and Massachusetts traditional territory. We gather to celebrate our students' brilliant achievements, all of your brilliant achievements, on stolen land, and thus benefit from the violence of settler colonialism and the history of racism with which it is entangled. As Tufts seeks to recognize and repair the harms of these ongoing histories in the present, we also acknowledge the presence and vitality of the indigenous communities with whom we gratefully share this land. We shall now recognize the graduates from the Department of English for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, one of whom is present. Please rise and proceed to the stage. I'm pleased to certify that the following 5 candidates have completed all requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and have demonstrated by preparation of a written dissertation and by oral examination the sound and mature scholarship required of recipients of this high degree. On behalf of the faculty of the School of Arts and Sciences, I request that the degrees be awarded. The first student and the only one who has to represent both himself and his colleagues is Alexander Ruggieri. His dissertation was Listening to Form, Modernism and the Resonant Subject. His advisor was John Lurs. Congratulations. The following 4 students were unable to attend today's commencement, but I will announce who they are. Anna Christine, her dissertation was Unbecoming Characters. Her advisor was Lee Edelman. Shannon Derby, her dissertation was Never Wide and Never Free, Mobility, Gender, and Empire in Narratives of Travel. Her advisor was Modamita Roy. Jennifer Horowitz, her dissertation was Relearning the Earth, Transformative Educations in American Literature. Her advisor was Elizabeth Ammons. And James Rizzi, whose dissertation was Sexual Violence and women's work in early modern drama and poetry. His advisor was Judith Haber. There are two students who will be defending their dissertations in May. They are Graham Calloway, whose dissertation is Invading Modernism. His advisor is John Lurs. And the other is Genevieve Hay, who's written on women, music, and protest in American literatures. Her advisor was Elizabeth Ammons. So we can all applaud them, though they are absent. In addition, I have the honor to present one candidate for the second degree in Arts and Sciences, the degree of Masters in Arts. So on behalf of the School of the Arts and Sciences, I ask that this degree now be conferred on Emily Silva, who is unable to attend today's ceremony. So thank you all. Congratulations to everyone. Writing a dissertation is no small feat, and everyone should really appreciate the achievement that they have attained. Thank you.
We shall now recognize the graduates for the first degree of Arts and Sciences. Will the candidates please rise? That's you, all of you. So what's going to happen is Kimberly Bain and I are going to read your names off. She'll take roughly the first half of the list, and I'll do the rest. When your name is called, you walk in front here. As you get to roughly this point, you move your tassel from one side to the other. You look up at the cameras there to wave to your family and friends. We all applaud every one of you in turn, and then you walk out. Members of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor to present to you these 18 candidates on behalf of the faculty of the School of Arts and Sciences. I ask that the respective degrees now be conferred.
Hello, everyone. I will commence with the reading of the names, beginning with Ruthie Block. Amina Dieng. Dana Flynn. Kaylee Ford. Claire Freeze. Elaine Jawe Gao. Bridget Horan. And Edie Hewling. I now turn it back over to John.
Rachel Israelowitz. Grace Little. Brittany Regas. Matthew J. Soderberg. Jada Sullivan Brito. Congratulations. And Elizabeth Sander. I would have recognized you except for the mask. And Campbell Simmons. Congratulations. Is there anyone else in the room who needs to be recognized? Well, let me name the names of four seniors who are not here but are attending virtually. Shahana Callahan. Victoria Leonardo. Lindsay Powers. And Evan Schwartz. These are candidates who are attending remotely or unable to attend. They've been invited to upload videos of themselves so that their names can be part of the ceremony proceedings on graduation day. As the recessional music begins, we would like to ask students to recess first, starting from the last row and working our way to the front of the auditorium. Faculty members will follow after the students. Please continue outside and remember to stay socially distanced even after you exit the building. Congratulations to you all once again. And now we get the unsingable Tufts song, I think, I believe. T-U-F-T-S, T-U-F-T-S, hurrah, 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 the dear old brown and steady and true, rush along, brown and blue, raise the mighty score to stay.